Hello, I'm here in beautiful Santa Fe, New Mexico with Miss Laura Wood and Miss Shelly Black. They're both certified clinical hypnotherapists who specialize in birth hypnosis, and they also do a general hypnotherapy practice. And the interesting part of this is they're sisters as well. Welcome, you guys. Thanks for being here and having us in your home today. Laura, thank you very much.
So glad you're here.
So, Shelly, would you explain to us a little bit about what birth hypnosis is?
Sure, I'm happy to. Birth hypnosis is the use of the altered state that we call hypnosis, but it's really a state that everyone experiences every day, to become really comfortable, really relaxed, and to control your body and your mind during the process of labor and birth. And it's really useful for all kinds of things like becoming more comfortable, more confident, accelerating labor, and making labor painless, or at least much more comfortable than it would be under normal circumstances. And all of that can be achieved without any drugs, just with the power of your own mind.
Fantastic. You know, Mitch and I, a few shows back, we had a surgery that we showed without any anesthesia, where John Butler in the UK, he was a hypnotist as well, he used hypnosis to have a hernia surgery. So it makes sense in my mind that if you can have that for hernia surgery, why not for childbirth, right?
Absolutely.
You guys are sisters.
Yeah, we do that all the time. Yeah.
Well, I have a new word to use in my vocabulary. Absolutely, as well as fantastic and exactly. I have to keep those words rolling there. So, Laura, I know that you have a really poignant reason for getting into this work. Would you tell us that story, please?
Sure. Actually, I went to hypnotherapy school when I was pregnant, and I had 3 children. So the first was born by cesarean section. The second was a very long hospital birth, and natural, the moment of my life, but it was so long and really kind of hard on me. So the third time around, I thought, I want to find something different. Went into the hypnotherapy school, kind of having that in mind, and had the most amazing experience. So first off, we had to get my labor started. My water had broken, and the labor wasn't starting. And so we used hypnosis for that. About 2 minutes after the session, I had my first contraction.
So your water was broken, but you weren't having contractions.
Right.
You went in and you had a hypnotherapy session to start contracting?
All of 5 minutes in the chair, yeah.
Wow, and your body immediately responded.
Exactly,
Wow.
Yeah. I went in, I let all the resistance out, I talked to the baby, and 2 minutes later I had my first contraction. And with Shelly here to help me, 5 hours later, my daughter was born. And the midwife came in about an hour before I started pushing and said she didn't think she needed to be here because I was sleeping. So I really did have that birth that I think nobody really believes that women have those. And even when I was giving birth, I didn't believe that I was really having that experience. It was amazing. Very peaceful, very natural.
After being a mom 2 times over, after having a cesarean section, having a natural but very long childbirth, and then having the third time's a charm, kind of that ideal birth. So you're kind of out there to say that this is achievable, that you have this experience and others can have it as well?
Right, exactly. So, I'd love to just grab every pregnant woman I see and say, do you know about this? Because it's so amazing. It doesn't have to be traumatic. It doesn't have to be the story that everyone tells every pregnant woman. It can just be beautiful and peaceful. I mean, I've had 2 dreams since my birth that I was pregnant, and I was so excited because I got to give birth. I mean, it's such a different experience.
That is a different story than what we usually have there.
Yeah, so it was just beautiful and empowering and amazing. And since then, we've been teaching women to do the same thing, and we just have had wonderful success. Well, the women have had the wonderful success, with shorter labors, less pain or no pain. It's just been really, I feel very blessed to have found this line of work to share.
So Shelly, why is this work important to you?
Well, when I was there with Laura during the birth of her third baby, I was really struck by the ordinary beauty of a woman giving birth. There's something really magical and mystical that happens, and it's amazing to watch it from the perspective of knowing what's happening, that the body is opening, that the cervix is dilating to 10 centimeters, and her body is performing this feat that
modern science and medicine could never hope to duplicate. And just the woman's body doing these things that almost defy imagination. And yet she was so calm and so peaceful. And I was struck by how peaceful the baby was. When the baby came out, she didn't cry. She looked right into Laura's eyes. She looked into everyone's eyes. And she was just the most peaceful, serene little being. And it wasn't the scene like you see where they pull the baby out, swat it on the butt, they're screaming and crying, and everybody's a mess. It was just like, hello, baby. It was very, very peaceful. And that child is one of the most peaceful children I've ever known. And I've heard that again and again from people who use hypnosis during their pregnancies, that they end up with really peaceful babies. And I think the children benefit from not only a peaceful pregnancy with hypnosis, but also from just a very mellow birth. Then there's no screaming.
Yeah, it makes sense. They're not processing the mother's stress hormones, along with whatever they're going through to enter the world. If they're sharing the mother's stress hormones, they have to process those too. So
it makes sense to me. I know that both of my births were very different as well. And you have children, don't you?
I do, yeah. I have 2 children, and they're both born naturally. With the first one, I had a long labor, similar to Laura's second. I didn't know anything about hypnosis at the time, and I just sort of went through it with breathing techniques. And it was, I was proud of myself at the end of it, but I felt there ought to be a better way. I knew I didn't want to use drugs, but I also didn't want the pain. So with the second baby, I really focused on visualization, a lot of imagery, and I didn't realize I was using hypnosis at the time, but if I'd known how to use it, if someone had trained me how to use my mind, I could have done an even better job. But it was a great improvement, just using imagery. So
I think that, I know across the world that there's many cultures that use hypnosis. Well, we term hypnosis, they may call it many different things, trance states, meditative states, to birth babies in a more peaceful environment. And my own experience with my first was doing that somewhat naturally, not even knowing what I'm doing, and I'm hearing that with you. So it almost seems to me that we have, as women, this innate ability to do that, and kind of a primal knowing that we can do that. But what I seem to see at times is that all of the negative publicity and all of the drama around childbirth makes it seem like there's no way you can do that. It has to be like pain and screaming and get the hell out of my face and all of that drama that makes good TV.
Good drama.
So what do you find with your moms that you help birth? What do they report back to you, Laura?
A lot of them are very surprised at just the peaceful nature of the labor. They're really bonding with their husbands instead of clutching their hands and wanting to punch them. It's like it's a beautiful bonding experience rather than this very dramatic thing that you see in the movie. And they really just, we get a lot of peace. That's the word that I would say probably comes back the most. And a lot of them are really surprised when it's time to push the baby out that it was that easy. Labor was so much easier than they thought. And I love that idea, that it's time and someone says, is that all? Is that all there is?
It's fantastic. That's really great. So Shelly, does somebody have to be like this master meditator or yogini or somebody who's like really into doing this all the time to be able to accomplish this? Does a mom have to like do this for 25 years before she can birth a baby this way?
No. Actually, it's amazing how easy it is to just learn the skills that you already have in place. Everyone already has everything they need to accomplish this. The key is to learn how to use it, where the skills are, how they work, and to develop confidence that it really does work. So finding someone who can teach you not only how to go into hypnosis on your own, but also to help you prove to yourself that it's working is key.
And how long do you usually work with a woman to get her into that state that she knows how?
Well, we usually work with women for about 8 hours. We have about 8 hours of classes, and then we send them home with CDs to practice with, and so that adds up to about a month of practice at home. And the CDs are between 20 and 30